And good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News this Tuesday. No, Monday. It's fucking keep getting it wrong every single time. It's Monday, the 29th of January 2018, and I don't think I'm ever going to get used to saying that, but that's what it is. That's the fact. So. Welcome to Raconteurs News Monday night. I'm just giving you an hour tonight because I've not got anybody lined up. And if there's anybody that wants to join in with us in the chat room, or anybody that wants to join in and come on the show and give us a point of view on anything, then I'll be pleased to accept you to get you onto the show. So. Yeah, big thank you to everybody. I do apologise. It's not been this last few weeks. Not been great, but we're still working on it anyway. And so tomorrow night, listen. Tomorrow we've got a great show on. Tomorrow night we're going to have some of the nonce hunters. It's somebody from one of these groups that are online that are. Ensnaring, catching, and I don't want to say that they're victimising nonsense, but you know, I think it is something that's needed, and I really wanted to talk to somebody about how it's evolved online, how it got to the point where we've got, like, you know, lots and lots every night, and of course the reason why the police are trying to stop them. So that's going to be tomorrow night. We've got our guest on. Let me just show. His name is Ken Humphreys. Ken Humphreys is here. He's from the group Hunting for Justice. Hunting for Justice. Yep. I approached him a couple of days ago and he agreed to come on the show, and so we're going to have him on tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I really don't know. I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. A couple of things I really want to talk to you about. We've had a few. I've had a few moments that. I'd like to tell you about a few things that have happened to me in the last week or so. One being a couple of nights ago, I was having a dream. Now, I've had this dream on several occasions that I've had this dream. And it's always the same sort of dream that I have. It's where I decide I've got to go and do something. Perhaps I'm going to go and deliver something in my van or whatever, and I can't find my keys, and that's how it goes. It goes frustration, and I am always forever trying to find my keys, and otherwise I can't go to work. You know, I'm supposed to be working in my dad's van, and I can't find the keys, so I can't work, and that's just how it happens. Now, I had this dream the other night, and this dream and this is the weird thing about it. Okay, I had this weird dream. I had this dream, which I knew was going to be the same sort of thing, and this is the weird part about it. I'm a few minutes into this dream, and I realise that it's going along the same lines as it has done before. There's something I'm not going to be able to find. I'm going to be frustrated by something, and the whole dream is going to be me frustrated at the fact that I can't complete this task that I'm supposed to be doing. And sometimes it's work, sometimes it's not. It's meeting somebody. But anyway, this particular night, it was a couple of nights ago, and this dream starts, and I go. I sort of go. I'm a few minutes into this dream, and then suddenly I go, "Fuck! This is bollocks! This is a dream I'm having. I'm having a dream." And that's the first time that's really happened to me. Whereas I've realised when I'm having a dream that it's a dream that I'm having. So I've gone. I've sort of like stopped and said that I can't do this. Right, this is a dream I'm having. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going through this whole rigmarole. Whereas I can't find the keys to the van, or I can't find the van, or I can't find my car, or I can't find something, and this huge thing happens to me. This whole. I usually end up having a dream for hours and hours on end, and it's really, really frustrating that I can't find the thing. And it was almost as if this last couple of days, this last one, this particular instance I'm talking about, it was like I just went, oh, bollocks to this. This is fucking nuts. I know I'm having a dream. I know I'm never going to find him. And so I find myself in the dream. I'm walking down a street, and it seems like an American street, or it seems like somewhere. Well, I'll tell you what it felt like when I got inside. But I went into this bar. There was this bar that just happened to be on my right hand side. So I just thought, fuck this. I'm not fucking going through with this crap that I'm getting from this dream, which I knew was a dream. And so I decided to go and sit at this bar. So I went and sat at this bar, and this bar was really the bar where I was sat at the bar, but the bar, it backed onto the outside, so that there was a window behind it outside, so that you could see people walking past. Right? It reminded me a little bit like, I don't know if anybody knows it, but it's Joe's Beach Bar that's in Inglemells in Skeggy, near the caravan that we've got. But it reminded me of that. So there's a bar that I'm sat up against. And I'm sat at this bar, and then I can see behind the bar, there's the windows, I can see people walking past, and they're walking along. Do you know, I don't even know if it were a promenade or road or whatever, but I don't know. But there were people walking past that bar. And then pretty much simultaneously, this woman come and sat next to me at the bar, and I recognised her immediately. It's my auntie, who died in the year 2000. She was only a few years older than me. I'm 47 now, so she probably would have been about 50, 51, something like that now. But she was my auntie. She was my dad's sister. And she died. She got Crohn's disease and had a lot of her. And I used to go and visit her in hospital. I was one of the few people that went to visit her, and I just about went every single day to visit her. And she had more and more of her intestines removed, and until she didn't have any stomach at all, and she had to have this bag, a colostomy bag. And I went to visit. I used to go and visit her for many, many years, and then. When it came to when she was dying, and we knew that she was dying, all of her intestines had been removed, and I think it was she died around about March 2000, because we were pleased that she got into the next millennium. And I think she was only, if you go back to March 2000, I was about 30, and so I think she was only about 34. My dad's sister. Really great person. Anybody who knew her would agree she was a great person. I mean, I suppose you get this when anyone dies, don't you? I mean, you sort of, they get as soon as somebody dies, you get a halo above the head. But you know, I really had a very close relationship with my Auntie Jackie, and so I'm having this dream. And she's the one that comes and sits next to me. And, you know, she was absolutely beautiful. It was as if that nothing had ever happened to her. And she was sat next to me, and she was absolutely beautiful. And, I've whenever I've gone through my life, I've always had, whenever things have happened to me, like I had a heart attack, I've had a couple of heart attacks, 3 in fact, I've had a couple of strokes, things that have happened to me, and I've always had this dark-haired woman that comes to me beforehand that sort of warns me that this is going to happen. And so I'm now thinking that it's my Auntie Jackie, but she anyway, she came to me this evening, that evening, and we were stood talking. We were talking, and it was the weirdest thing. I mean, what I've done is I've started to have this dream, and then she's come along, and it's like I've said, this dream is crap. I know it's crap. I'm just having a dream, and then she's come along, so it's like, and she came along and sat next to me, and I'm sort of like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Oh my God, you look beautiful, because she looked beautiful. I mean, but at the time when she died, she'd lost all her teeth because of the amount of morphine and things that she'd been given, which had caused her teeth to fall out. So she'd lost all her teeth. She looked really old and haggard. But in this, where this what I experienced the other night, she seemed, well, it was almost as if the illness had not took her at all, and so she'd lived a life and completely gone along in her life and grown up in the way that perhaps she should have done, really. And so I'm sat there and I'm sort of saying, oh my God, Jackie, fucking hell, it's what are you doing here? And she says, well, I've come along because you need me, and also I've come along to give you some reassurance. And she explained to me about her mum and dad, Kenneth and Gladys. I mean, Gladys died in 1993. Ken died in around about 2010, 2011, something like that. That's my granddad and grandmother, her mum and dad. And she was explaining to me. I said to her, how are you? How are you all up there? And she says, oh, we're all great. We've all moved on. We've all moved on. But what happens is there's some residual energy that is left behind that doesn't move on, so that we can communicate with people like you. Okay, so relatives, that sort of thing. And it was the most incredible conversation I think I've ever had. And we spoke about all sorts of different things, about the residual, and it was just the most intense thing that I think that I've ever experienced in my life. I do apologise that I'm sort of going off on a tangent here, but no, it was. I've had experiences in my life. I believe I know that I have. I've spoken to people from other planets. I've spoken to people from other planes and other different areas of life and of existence. But this, I think, was the most complete and clear. You know, when you have an experience like this and it's not complete, you can't. If you try to remember it back, it's not quite all there. Well, this is the most important thing. I think that this is the most clear thing that I've ever had, and this was with my my auntie, and she was telling me all about what happens in the afterlife. She was telling me all about what happens to people after the energy is extinct from the physical body that you walk around in. So that was something that happened to me this week. I think it's probably the most profound thing that's ever happened to me before. That's ever happened to me. It was almost as if I could have. Yeah, well, I did touch. I could touch her. And it went on for about 20 minutes, and it was, I think, probably the most amazing thing that I've ever experienced. And anybody who knows me knows I've experienced some fucking really, 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 really intense stuff. But I think that was the most fascinating thing that I've ever really encountered. And we sat and had a conversation for around about 20 minutes. She told me all about different stuff. She told me all about the afterlife. She told me all about how people move on, but there is a residual energy left behind, so that people's souls can communicate. She told me that my nan and granddad, they've both moved on. They've gone on to the next life, and so has she. She said we've all gone. We've all moved on. It's just that this residual energy is left behind, and it grows over a period of time. It does grow weaker and weaker, but it is still always there. And it was really, really interesting, and well, a big thing for me. And so that's what has happened to me this week. I don't really know what to do. I don't know whether I'm going to get Andy on. Do you want to get on, Andy? Oh, here we go. Okay, then. I have invited Webbo on, and if Andy wants to come on and just... if we just complete this hour and we can talk to each other and do all that sort of crap. Let me just see if I can pop this in here. I just want to... I'm just trying to... here we go. Oh, evening, ladies. Super Leeds, how you doing, my brother? Nice to see you. Nice. Right, let's take that out of here and see if we can pop it into hither and get some sort of... Oh, crap. My apologies, everybody. I'm just trying to get things sorted out, and I'm trying to get Webby on. Webbo should be about somewhere. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm going to add Andy in. I'm going to try and get him on radio show as well. Oh, crap. What are we doing? Okay, let's see if we can get Andy on. No, boop, boop.
Hi, Jess.
How you doing, brother?
I'm fine, mate. How's you? I was just listening to that, you recounting that dream, and although I heard it initially on Friday night, it's still quite staggering to hear you recount that. Quite an amazing experience.
Oh, unbelievable, mate. Honestly, unbelievable. I've never had anything like it. I'm hoping that people can hear you. So if somebody in chat room can give me just a little bit of a message, just to say yes, we can hear Andy in there, and then we'll be okay. Can you hear me, Andy?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you fine, mate. Superlead says he can't hear me though.
Oh, right, okay, right. So what I need to do is I need to plug you in.
I love this technology.
It's great, isn't it?
Are you routing me through the music sensor?
I'm trying to do something. Brother. I will have you... oh, fucking hell. You fell off and everything. Let's see.
Clicks and bangs going on.
How's that?
How's that? I don't know.
Can you hear me? Oh, fucking hell, I can't hear you now. Bollocks.
See if Super Leagues can hear me now.
Right, I'm going to play a record, and I'm going to get Andy sorted on this. So just give me a quick second. I'll play a little bit of a record, and then me and Andy should be back on.
Right, no problem.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News. It seems that we have got rid of some of the gremlins, and Andy is with me tonight. How you doing, Andy? All right, mate?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I was just saying when nobody could hear me earlier on how you related the story of that dream to me Friday night, and it struck me as incredible then, really bizarre. And hearing it a second time, it seems even more so. I mean, I'm a little bit jealous, really, because I never remember my dreams, and it really pisses me off. It's something I've been working on for donkey's years, and I just cannot seem to remember dreams.
Well, I don't readily remember dreams. But if there's been some sort of traumatic incident in my life, that generally tends to be when I will get the dreams. And like I've said before, I always called her my stalker. But there was always this mysterious dark-haired woman that always appeared in my dreams just before I had an event like like a PE or whatever.
Oh, and that's who you reckon your stalker was, your anti-jacket?
Yeah, because she's got this, she always had this really black hair. And I always had this black-haired, beautiful, and I mean beautiful woman that I just couldn't really remember. All I could remember about her is that she was dark-haired and that she was beautiful. And it's as though at this point she's then revealed herself to me. It's just it was just incredible. I've never had anything so profound in my life, and it really stuck with me. When I spoke to my wife about it, and I told my wife about it, I said to her, I just had to get it off my chest. I just had to get it off my chest. I just had to tell somebody because it was just so profound.
Yeah, it sounds it. Oh, Leeds is saying he had a dark-haired stalker.
Ah, you see. Good old Leeds. Good old Super Leeds. How you doing, my friend? I'm just going to go and see if I can try and get Webby in on this call. I don't know how to do it on this thing, but...
Do you want me to see if I can get it?
You see if you can drag him in, see if he'll pop along, and we'll have a quick chat with Webby. Listen, tomorrow night on Raconteurs News, we've got Ken Humphreys. He's going to be coming on. He's one of these. He's one of the people that are on the internet, on Facebook, hunting nonsense. So hopefully, he'll be on tomorrow night anyway. So we should have a good chat with him and find out what's going on and what. Well, what the police doing, because the police are trying to clamp down on this. Is he not there?
Right. Yeah, Paul's not joined in. I don't know whether that's a problem with me adding him into Skype or what.
Okay.
It's a bit bizarre. Show group conversation. Yeah. I'm puzzled. If you can hear this, Paul, type us a message and let us know what's going on, whether it didn't ring with you or what.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Paul.
He told you he's online, is he?
He's sent me a message saying he's just seen it. So, because I asked him earlier on...
there you go. Try it again.
If he'd like to join us. It's...
No, he's never just getting set up, mate.
It's not great radio, folks, but it's what we've got for tonight. I'm not overly enamoured with the way that things are going, but we've got a good guest on tomorrow night, haven't we? So I just thought I better just come on and do something tonight because you don't want to leave people. With addiction.
Hanging. No, it's never good, that. Super Leeds is asking, did you see the Joe Cox article in the Daily Fail?
No.
I had a quick look at it last night. I didn't get to have a proper read because I was busy chatting to Dinny, and he was telling me how we're all fucked and we're all going to die, and he's hoping for World War III anytime soon.
Dinny, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds about like rate for dinner, doesn't it? There won't be any World War III, we know that, don't we?
Well, I'm very confident there won't, but...
No, there won't be. There won't be a World War III. Yeah, there's not a chance. It's a complete fucking waste of time. And, of course, we've got North and South Korea now looking like that they're going to reunify.
Yeah,
which is good news.
About that. Yeah, that would be an interesting change in the dynamic, wouldn't it? And also, you've got to think, America, North Korea, it's not really a sort of not really a sort of Marvin Hagler versus Nigel Benn type fight, is it? It's even more one-sided than that. And let's face it, if the USA nuked North Korea, there'd be an almighty radiation cloud headed for China. And however many million people that might or might not kill in China, I don't think they'd take very kindly to it, do you?
No, not really. Not really. It's look, the World War III thing is just nonsense. It's never going to happen. And the people like real estate too much. The people that are in charge, they like the real estate too much to destroy it all. I mean, they want cities and conurbations all to be making money for them rather than destroying them. That's the thing for me. And of course, I don't believe that there's any nuclear weapons. I really don't believe it.
Yeah, I looked at what's the guy who's done the talks about that. I can't remember his name online. It's a really unusual name. I can't remember, but somebody did mention it. I think it was Patrick mentioned it in the chat room a couple of weeks back when we were talking about that. Maybe it was even when we had Gary on who was talking about nuclear weapons at Rendlesham, at Bentwaters, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's his bloody name? Can't think of it. Oh, it nearly came to me there. No, it'll come to me as we're talking.
Okay. So, but there's a guy then that is coming across with this idea that there is no nuclear weapons, or that we'd never be able to use them anyway.
Well, what this guy's, I'm sure, Galen Windsor, that's his name. Galen Windsor. And I'm pretty sure it's him that said he worked in the uranium enrichment business, where in the lead up to building the first atomic bomb. And he said, rather than all these bloody silver suits you get with air ventilation and all that stuff, they were just wearing cotton boiler suits.
Right.
And nobody got sick. So he says the fact that it's so damaging is a complete false. Oh, Super Lead says I'm a bit loud. Can you turn me down a bit, Jace? Because I'm on a webcam mic. I haven't got control over that.
Right, well, I've turned it down a little bit. Only a bit short. The Super Lead's also there. I mean, you're probably not very loud, even, because Super Leeds has just put he's a genius, and he can't be a genius if he's a Leeds fan, particularly after Millwall and Newport County. But we won't mention that in front of him, because he's obviously going to be very sensitive about that.
Well, I won't mention it because I haven't got Scooby-Doo. What are you talking about?
Well, listen, Leeds this weekend. I think there were two, or they were definitely leading against Millwall, and ended up losing. So we'll not mention that. We'll not mention it at all. In fact, Super Leeds has put in the chat room saying don't. So we won't mention that.
I hope you've got my level a bit better there now, Leeds. I hope that's all right for you, not getting all the wax out your ears.
Millwall. He's put Millwall. He loves Millwall. I used to play for Millwall, I played for Millwall a couple of times.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I played for Millwall back in the day when Teddy Sheringham was here. And played for Millwall a couple of times. And I played for Oldham as well, under Joe Royal. It probably means no to you, but...
Is that a bit like a casting couch under Joe Royal?
Listen, I was on bench for an FA Cup semi-final in... it must have been about 92 or something, anyway.
Oh, bloody hell. I realised you were quite a serious footballer, but I didn't realise you were in that sort of league, yeah.
Well, I weren't really. I mean, I weren't really in that sort of league. I mean, I were on bench and I got a few placements and, I played for Kilmarnock a couple of times as well. No, yeah, good stuff. I really enjoyed it. I used to love the football life.
Yeah.
Back in those days. So yeah, but I played at Millwall, along with Teddy Sheringham. God fucking hell, George. I think George Graham was manager. I played for Millwall only a couple of times, but I still got on pitch and
Wow.
had a really good day. Shame my legs are fucked, innit? Otherwise, I'd be able to fucking play. I think the last time I played was about 2006, and I've got video of that. And I played in a charity game at Hillsborough, and I scored a goal as well. And I've got footage of that somewhere.
Oh, I've seen the picture of you on the pitch at that charity game. I remember you showed me a picture of it once.
Yeah. So, what's been going on in your life this weekend?
Not really a big lot, mate. I've just been taking it easy. I've been totally shattered this weekend, so I've been just chilling out, watching a few YouTube videos, watching the odd bit of garbage on Netflix, and spending a bit of time with my good lady.
Well, I've been watching something on YouTube, and it was something that somebody who's involved with the Jeremy Bamber campaign posted on YouTube. I think it's what's her name, Penhaligon, Susan Penhaligon. She's an actress.
I've heard of her, yeah.
Yeah, and she posted something on YouTube about a video series. I think it's about eight long, and I think I'm on about number 6 or 7. I think 7's the next one we're on. But it was about a guy that was supposed to have murdered his wife, and when you look at it, this guy's a novelist. Okay, so
right.
he writes novels, and his wife's found dead at the bottom of the stairs. Mm-hmm. There's blood everywhere, and I mean blood everywhere. And the state suggests that he beat her to death, and he's suggesting that she went up 3 stairs and then fell over, got completely covered in blood, and then stood up and fell over again. So it's like the most ridiculous thing in the world, but it's called The Staircase. If anybody find it on YouTube, it's called The Staircase, and it's from about 2003. But they're videoing him throughout the process, if you know what I mean. And it's so false, it's unbelievable. And I do believe that he was convicted of the murder, but I think that it was, upon appeal, it was reduced to manslaughter, and he's got out of prison. And it's really, really ridiculous. If you watch it, that the fact that he says, that it was his wife walking up a couple of stairs, and then she falls over, and then there's all this blood. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's obvious she's been beaten to death.
Oh, right. Is it in about 9 parts?
It's in about 9 parts, 8 or 9 parts.
Oh, right. I found it.
Yeah, it's called The Staircase.
I'll pop the link in the chat room then. There we go. Yeah, I've been watching quite a few YouTube things lately. As far as Netflix, I did find an interesting story. It was about the death of scientist who worked for the American government, Frank Olson. It was in the 50s. He supposedly had an accident in a hotel in the 13th floor and jumped or fell out the window. It's come to light over the years that basically the CIA executed him. And it was the unfurling of this story over the decades, but it was told by his son and by interviews throughout the progress of the series with his son. I found it bloody fascinating, and maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but when the deep state murdering people to cover up particular things is something I'm particularly interested in, and it really kind of really nerve with me, yeah.
There is some good stuff, like on Netflix or on YouTube. There are good things. I mean, I'd recommend anybody finding. Oh bloody hell! What's it called? Ah, God. It's called something like. The real if you did a search and did Vladimir Ilyushin, the first man in space, you would see the video that has been that is posted on the internet about the first man in space, Vladimir Ilyushin, rather than Yuri Gagarin. And it tells you the story of him as well. And if you're talking about Ilyushin, you're talking about he's from the family that made the Ilyushin jets. Okay, so we're talking about someone similar, on a similar scale to John Lear, because we have John Lear that comes out and does things and says things.
Yeah.
Particularly about like 9/11 and things like that. But the Ilyushin family, they were the first. That was, according to history, that it was the first man in space was Vladimir Ilyushin, but he crashed in China, and because China were at war with Russia at that particular moment in time, everyone tried to cover it up, and it ended up that Yuri Gagarin ended up being the first man in space, so to speak. But oh God, I wish I knew what it were called. It's
Vladimir Ilyushin, cosmonaut. Death of a cosmonaut. No, that might be it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's in there. It's something the first man in space conspiracy or something daft like that.
Stolen Glory, the cover-up of cosmonaut Vladimir Ilyushin. Would that be the one?
It could be. Let me have a look. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's called.
I
think it's called The Great Cosmonaut. Have a look for the cosmonaut cover-up or the cosmonaut conspiracy.
The Lost Russian Cosmonaut Conspiracy. Is that it?
It could be.
The Secret Space, the Cosmonaut cover-up feature film. Death of a Cosmonaut, Soyuz 1, Last Trust. No, that's a different one. Phenomena, Secret Russian Cosmonaut cover-up documentary, Stolen Glory.
Yeah, to be fair, there's probably loads of them about. But I saw the one that was particularly called something like the Cosmonaut Conspiracy or the real first man in space or something like that. But it was definitely it's something that's worth looking up at. It's something definitely worth watching.
Yeah. I've found loads of it. All I put in was Vladimir Ilyushin cosmonaut, and there's loads of stuff come up there on YouTube, so there's plenty to look at. Vladimir Ilyushin. There's only really short clips on there, apart from odd ones.
Let's have a quick. Let me have a quick look.
Just trying again to add Paul. No, he's not online by the looks of it.
Vladimir Ilyushin. The Fallen Idol, Yuri Gagarin Conspiracy. This was made in 2011. I think I watched it before then, so that's probably not it. But
there's one here from UFO TV. It's called Secret Space: The Cosmonaut Cover-Up feature film.
That's it.
In 1961, the Soviet media reported that Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. However, with the breakup of the...
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, I'll copy that and put the link in the chat.
What a great film! I'd recommend everybody watches that. There have been plenty over the years that have, that have been not quite what they're supposed to be. But I thought that was pretty good, because what they did is they it didn't only just give up like a theory. It also made it, because Ilyushin, as far as the Russian papers and the press were concerned, had had a car accident in China, and that's why he was in hospital in China. But what had really happened is it circumnavigated the globe, if you want to call it that, if you want to think that it's that, and crashed in China. And because the Chinese and the Russians were at war at that particular moment in time, then the Chinese hung on to Vladimir Ilyushin because he was quite a big fish. You know, he was one of the biggest fish in Russia at that time. So they hung on to him, looked after him. They completely looked after him, and it sort of, I think it ended up in a softening of ideas between Russia and China, and I think it really did soften things up and make them, more amenable. So I think it had an effect anyway. But whenever anybody says that Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space, if you look properly, it's Vladimir Ilyushin. It's Vladimir Ilyushin, and it's a great story as well. It's something that, a great story to be told. But he did suffer terrible injuries in China, and the Chinese looked after him.
Oh, right.
They were at war. It's one of those things. It's like when someone says to you, first man in space, Yuri Gagarin. To me, it's a similar sort of thing as to somebody who says to me, when they're talking about Americans and they say they can't even say aluminium. They call it aluminum.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it was called aluminum in the first place. It was called aluminum in the first place. In 1805, there was a meeting of scientists in Denmark where they were going to standardise the periodic table, and they proposed to call it aluminium, put the inium on it, rather than just have the aluminum. Then that would be standardised. But the Americans weren't there because they were still technically at war with the British in 1805 from the 1776 war. So they were technically still at war with the British. So they didn't go, which is why they call it aluminum and we call it aluminium. The rest of the world calls it aluminium. See, this is what people don't understand. They sort of just go, it's just this daft crap that they're taught.
I had a lecturer when I was at college. I can't remember his name now, but it was dead funny because he used to lecture in material sciences in an engineering class. And he got a peach impediment and he couldn't say aluminium. It's amazing how many questions you can find to ask the lecturer where the question is aluminium when you really put your mind to
it. Yeah. Yeah.
He used to stutter and split. We had him going all lesson sometimes.
I used to have a math teacher that he was called Mr. Molson, and he was a right bastard. He was a right tosser.
Yeah.
But all these letters that he wrote on board would look like numbers. So an S would be a 5. You know, they all looked like numbers. It was just ridiculous. It was like he was writing in numbers.
Do you think he did it on purpose, then? Or?
Well, probably did the old bastard.
A bit obsessed.
Yeah. So we've got Super Leeds in the chat. Listen, I think we're going to cut this short and leave it at an hour. I've got...
there you go.
We've got lined up for tomorrow. We've got... God, what's his name? Ken...
It's above the chat room. Kenny Humphreys.
Kenny Humphreys, yeah, that's it, yeah. Kenny Humphreys. We've got Kenny Humphreys lined up for tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a little bit of a non-sophile sort of thing. We're going to find out what makes them tick, how they go about their business, and I think we're going to do that tomorrow night.
His group's called Hunted for Justice.
Hunters, yep. Hunter for Justice. So get yourself onto there. That's on Facebook. But I think we're probably going to wrap this up tonight because, well, we haven't really got no to do. There's just me and Andy. We're talking out of his arses, aren't we?
I've had a quiet weekend, haven't we?
Yeah. Very quiet weekend. And so we'll probably leave it for now on this for tonight. And I'll see you again tomorrow night. I've got, like I say, I've got Kenny Humphreys. He's going to be on. Hang on just a second. What was that?
It was somebody sending you a message on Skype.
Oh, right. I don't know what that is. Here we go. It's Ken Humphreys.
He's listening then.
He's are we still on for the testing tomorrow? Yes, mate. Of course we are.
Testing?
Yeah, just to get sounds quality up.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
And that.
You mean like we didn't do?
Yeah, like we didn't do, like we've not done tonight. So it's probably best that I say to you that I'm going to go off and listen to my record, Wonderful Children's Songs by John Pertwee and June Whitfield. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Definitely be back tomorrow night. Definitely be on tomorrow night. 2-hour show. I'm sorry. I've just had a thing through for me. For me test, I've got to have a scan and MRI scan on my legs and all that sort of crap. So I'm going to be okay for tomorrow night. And we've got Ken Humphreys on tomorrow night. He's just sent me a message saying... Okay, so that's just Ken anyway. Just letting me know we're going to do a sound check tomorrow night. Tomorrow before we have tomorrow night show. But listen, anyway, thanks very much for listening to us tonight. It's just been me and Andy. Thanks very much, Andy, for coming along. I just wanted to do something because I hate to just sort of just leave everyone holding their dicks in the wind. I'm going to have Mark Salon on next week as well. And also, who else have I got coming on? I've got somebody else coming on next week, and I can't remember who it is. But anyway, we've got a couple of good guests lined up for next week. Tomorrow night, we've got Ken Humphreys. We're non-spusting. We're going to find out, get all your questions in the chat room, and we'll see you tomorrow night. You want to
Nice
finish
one.
off, Andy? Say a word.
I'd just say have a fantastic evening, everybody, and I hope you'll listen to Jason tomorrow night, because I certainly will be. All right, take it easy.
Cheers, Andy. All right, thanks very much, everybody, for listening. It's only been an hour tonight. I'm very, very sorry. It's not been a good day for me, but we're going to play out with this record. I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and we'll have Ken Humphries on. So we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
A dream from the heart comes free.
You got a song on or what? Oh, your mic's live.
I know it is.